Hey, welcome back to the Nets, guys. Unbiased views. They're fast, they're furious. Topics to be covered today. Well, a little bits and pieces of things that are happening around the world, but the big one would be Australia and the versus India and the big massive win that India just had in Australia when the chips were down. With me is Arsh. Hey, Arsh. Welcome
Hey man,
back.
how are you doing?
Chilled, excited, amazed,
How
surprised. All of those.
were you awake when everything happened?
Yes. I did not miss a single ball yesterday.
I'm glad because there are so many things that we should cover today. First of all, talking about one man's captaincy, who captaincy I thought changed the entire course of the game. The Tim Payne wicket that Rahane just went for was brilliant. It's not just that, but he just did. He just checked all the boxes. Don't you think so?
He did, and the biggest part with Rahane's captaincy, which I felt, was attacking fields. He was an absolute bowler's captain, banking on Ashwin, bringing Ashwin on in the 11th over. That was a masterstroke as well. So, and on the other hand, the bowlers supported him. They actually did play according to plan. So that was, that goes in their benefit. But definitely a different, refreshing captain.
So yeah, one of the major things that I saw in Rane's captaincy was the confidence that he got in, and he was taking the team together in a situation and taking them out. So the only worrying part would be taking last five wickets. Again, we struggled to do it because we gave away around 70 odd runs, 70, 80 odd runs for the last four wickets or five wickets, which is a little concern.
Australia were 99 for 6, so we gave them 100 runs for the last four.
So
But
100.
then again, look at it, uh, when Australia did play 100 odd overs, if you think about it, they scored the last 60 runs in the last 20. So the last
Mm-hmm.
20 with that means that it was pretty significant that once the ball was old, it was not doing much of the pitch. It's just the fresh new cherry that does a little bit in Melbourne, and it happened in with Australia as well. So I think that yes, we tried. The biggest thing that we did was we, even when the ball was old, we did not really let the game go away from us by giving them runs. No freebies were offered, and
Mm-hmm.
that on top of everything when we were a bowler shot.
Yeah, talking about a bowler shot, we lost Umesh in the third over, and it didn't feel like we missed a bowler, did we? Because the way these guys bowled and the way the knack of picking wickets and what a change Jadeja is to the Indian team is no surprise because I was not surprised to for him to be in the mix of things right from the first wicket that he took, the first catch that he took when Gill and Jadeja were just about to run into each other. Right from that to like pretty much everything, the energy and every damn thing that he gets on the field is so different. The way he bats, he averages more than Ben Stokes right now. He is one of the most. He has an average of 57, which is phenomenal. Which is
So,
just
and this is what I tweeted a few days back that Jadeja for me is more often than not an unsung hero. He adjusts to any format of the game. He is the first name to be picked on any of the three teams. It's just that his contribution does not become as significant as somebody like a Shubman Gill or a Rahane or a Bumrah. But if you look
correct.
at it, Jadeja's contribution is always there. He is always in the mix of things. He brings in extra energy on the field. Zero catches dropped this time around, which is, again, there were balls that fell short, which I won't consider as a catch dropped, but just the fact that the over rate was on target because Jadeja comes in and zips them through. He
Yeah,
gets done with
2.5 to 3 minutes per over. So he just
yeah,
comes, goes to the keeper. Keeper gives the ball straight to him. Zap, zap, zap. Over done. So
right,
and I blink and you miss a Jadeja over.
absolutely, and that exactly is the case. So let's just talk about the debutants that we had. Shami losing his hand, was a massive loss. But the way Siraj stepped up,
Before
it did.
doing that, before going there, I think this was one of India's greatest test wins. With again with not having not bowling. So four major players were out. Rohit Sharma was out. Virat Kohli was out. Mohammad Shami
Shami,
was out. Ishant Sharma was out, and we lost Umesh in the fourth innings.
yes,
So basically, five starring 11 player starring team was on bench or on the bench or sitting outside. With this, with Rahane in the mix of things and his troop managed to steal the game away from Australia. So what I want to talk about here is was it did India play really well? So in the entire series we have just had one bad session that costed us the last game. Apart from that, from the last game to this game, I think the batting was pretty much on point. We did whatever we could. The changes that we did was pretty much on point. Prithvi Shaw out, Shubman Gill in, played around. He has around 80 or 90 odd runs to his career in one innings, which is okay. Which Mayank failed, but that is also okay. So, what do you think was the major change from the last game to this game? One bad session, or
one bad session, 135-minute period where India lost it all. And the biggest change was the pink and the red ball. We are not experienced with the pink ball. The experience comes in with the red ball. We didn't have senior pros who can actually would have performed with the pink ball, bouncy track. So it was just a horrible one session, and that was, that was where everything was lost. But that is what makes this victory even better. Like bundled out for 36, and you come back to Australia, managed to hold Australia, and this is a record after 1986. This is the first time that in three consecutive innings, Australia has been held down below 200. So that itself is, a massive accomplishment for the bowlers.
yeah. So talking now, we can go to talking about Shubman Gill and Siraj.
Shubh, and again, he seems like he's there to stay. It was the right kind of a debut for him. He was confident in what he was doing. Yes, he was a little bit flashy in the first inning, but the second inning was where he looked absolutely compact. The two wickets lost didn't phase him. He continued playing his shots, one false shot, and then he drove the bowler down the ground. Then there was another instance when he drove an on drive, hooked the ball well. He seems like he's got all the shots in the book, and I just hope that he's here to stay. I hope that he doesn't, this doesn't fizz out. He just has to continue going on. A Rahul Dravid product.
Yeah, when you say Rahul, so when you say Rahul Dravid product, Prithvi Shaw is also a Rahul Dravid product.
And
So
back to Rahul Dravid for another 5 6 months.
yeah, that's the needed. So yeah, when you talking about Gill, he looked as if he wanted to stay, but then he had this he some when I saw him bat, somehow he has the same problem what Prithvi Shaw has. So the front foot when it just doesn't move for some balls, it's just frozen. So when Prithvi Shaw was batting, it was in the air. So when there was an impact, the his leg was in the air. So that's what, and his legs are frozen. So that's one thing that he needs to, or maybe just give him time and then see how things
He
goes.
will. That will happen as time progresses.
Hmm.
That will happen. Progresses. I'm not too worried about it. Now the bigger question is: will Mayank be dropped for Rohit, or will Hanuma Vihari be dropped for Rohit, and both of them get dropped for Rohit and KL? I won't be
Oh,
surprised if both get dropped and KL Rahul and Rohit comes in. And if you look at it, it will probably be a little bit of a Mumbai core, considering there is Rahane, there is Bumrah. There is Rohit Sharma as well. And not to forget, if Umesh Yadav is injured, the bowlers that we have on the bench right now are
Shardul
Saini,
Thakur.
Natarajan, and Shardul Thakur. So we don't really know who gets the nod. And considering Virat Kohli is not in, Shastri's input, I don't know how much will matter.
Now this is interesting. Natarajan would be one of the greatest finds, but I think Shardul Thakur will just have a inch over him because of his experience.
And
So
Jared Saini is also somebody who is, who has come in through the domestic structure. So I won't be surprised if Saini makes the nod. I'm hoping Umesh Yadav gets fit in time. But then again, the game is in Sydney. So now, does it mean that because we know that the ball turns there, suddenly we are throwing in another wrist spinner, Kuldeep Yadav in the mix? Don't know.
mhm.
Because, okay, if you look at it on the other hand, Australia is already making changes. If I am not wrong, the way Australia, and if I'm thinking like an Australian, I would say that Warner is definitely coming in. They are dropping Joe Burns. I won't be surprised if Pukoski comes in and opens with Joe Warner, and Travis Head is also dropped, and Wade comes down in the center.
No, but I would back Wade to open. Wade should open because the way he's been playing, he really deserves. So it all started off with him opening for the Big Bash. In the Big Bash, he started to open and he played. He's played the innings of his life for his team, and then he's just taken it ahead from there. So in the T20s, also from nowhere, he started to open, and he's given Australia flashy starts. So that is one of the most beautiful thing about Wade in the recent past that he started doing. So I think he shouldn't be given anywhere in the middle. He should stick to opening the inning.
All right. I mean, at least they finally finalized that Sydney would be the testing ground for all of us. So, I mean, the third test would be in Sydney, which was confirmed. So let's hope. I get a feeling Sydney is again someplace where if our batting holds up, we might just end up winning that game as well. The one in
Yes,
Brisbane is the one
sure.
that I would fear, considering Brisbane offers a little bit more bounce.
I'm surprised that we don't have a test match in Perth this time. So
It was partially because of COVID as well, I think. Western Australia is a little bit on the suffering side. So, so moving on from that, I don't know if you have been following the Pakistan and New Zealand Test series, but
well,
that
I
thing,
I just I just had a
boys.
glimpse. I just had a glimpse of. I just ran into the scorecard wherein Pakistan avoided follow on, and that was considered to be a big victory for Shoaib Akhtar. Oh, that's all what I know.
So Pakistan managed to avoid follow on, and they had a pretty decent partnership. Fahim Ashraf and Rizwan managed to get a nice 150 odd run partnership, I think. But the
And
bigger
then
challenge,
he was run out. Is it?
he was out in the last. He was the last standing wicket, so I think he was out that way. But the biggest thing is they now have to chase 300 on the last day, 108 overs of play remains. New Zealand are technically a bowler short because Wagner has broken his toe, but he's still bowling. So
Of
it
course.
it it all boils down to which side of Pakistan shows up. If they are even able to if they manage to draw this test match, that pretty much puts a massive dent in New Zealand's ambition of playing the finals in England.
So now, how do we stand? So we have to win for India? How do we stand?
So now India still, we are assuming that India will still win 4-0 against England in India, and that will make us feel absolutely certainly comfortable. But if we manage to win one of the last two games in Australia, that would give us more space, breathing space.
So we have to win four out of four in India against England, is it?
That is correct. That
So
is correct. The task was to win five of the eight test matches that we had, which were four in Australia. So we won one here. Now, if we win four in India, we are comfortable. And I hope in when England visits, we absolutely make bounce, absolute winning tracks.
interesting.
So
Now this will be fun.
this will be fun. On the other hand, West Indies just announced their squad for Bangladesh T20s and one day internationals, and it turns up that 10 of their first team starters are not going to Bangladesh. So Jason Holder has called out Bravo, Hitmeyer, and pretty much all the big names. Pollard is not traveling with the team. They have cited COVID fears. They are not going to Bangladesh. An absolute B team is going out there.
But why would they even send a B team? It shouldn't. They shouldn't be sending anyone to Bangladesh right now.
Uh, well, at the end of the day, it's Test cricket at stake, and I know that it at this point both the teams are pretty low down in the pecking order, but nonetheless, it's bragging rights for the next World Test Championship. So I'm guessing even if a second string West Indies team goes, they would try their best to actually make the most out of it.
You never know. The second team, the B team, be successful. Can be
I am
successful because all the top guns are have never played. Have, so let's be honest here. West Indies has never been a test side since like forever. I have watched cricket after Lara and the great team went their way. The team which plays was a predominantly T20 side. So this is a side which can't even last more than 60 overs in a day when batting. So it has not you I won't be surprised if the B team goes and bats their hearts out and just
managed.
makes it count. Yeah, yeah.
All right, and on the last note, New Zealand, sad news came out of New Zealand. John Reid, one of their prolific scorers from the 80s, died today. He was 63. I think he played 19 odd test matches for New Zealand, died at the age of 64, six centuries, and I think 450s in 16 odd matches that he played. He was probably one of the most instrumental ones in getting a victory in Gabba in 1986 when New Zealand first beat Australia in Australia. So may he
Sad
rest in peace.
news.
Yes.
Sad news.
And I guess that's all that we have for today. So
Before we hang up, before we leave, please hit the like, please subscribe, please do whatever you can to share this video. That'll help us fetch a little money. I don't know if we started making money, but a little money
no,
won't hurt anyone. So yeah, so
thank,
please put a word out and see how this goes. Please help us reach to the next level. Please
thank you,
subscribe, guys. Please subscribe.
thank
See
you.
you guys.
All right,
See you guys
we will
next time.
healthy, stay safe wherever you are, guys.
Bye. Peace out.